Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Now with the main headlines. Imam Ali Holy Shrine raises black banner of sorrow and marks Imam's painful martyrdom. US weapons left in Afghanistan being used by the TTP for terrorism in Pakistan. Anti-Islamic agenda takes more calculated measures in India amid top politicians' condemnation. Non-violence organization says uprooting causes of genocide is an urgent and necessary issue. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear viewers. This is Shia Waves and you're watching live from Imam Hussein TV 3. The Imam Ali Holy Shrine has raised the black banners of sorrow over the Holy Shrine of the Commander of the Faithful, alayhi salam, on the occasion of his martyrdom anniversary. Amid the presence of officials and number of employees, Secretary General of the Shrine said in this speech, "We raise the banner of sorrow to commemorate the martyrdom anniversary of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. This banner also represents consolation, convention, and loyalty to his blessed biography." He also added that the Commander of the Faithful was a great school. From his life we learn mercy, love, and sacrifice. We learn Islam as a religion and the doctrine and stances. We learn to always say the truth whenever we are and wherever we may be. We will learn asceticism and that martyrdom is a victory. A new report confirmed that weapons left by the US Army after its withdrawal from Afghanistan are used by extremist and terrorist groups to carry out terrorist activities in Pakistan. The report launched by Radio Free Europe has that banned Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan and Baluch separatist groups were using the modern weapons and military equipment which was left behind by the US forces after the pullout from Afghanistan in 2001 for terrorist activities inside Pakistan. The US had left behind weapons and military equipment worth $7 billion, which later boosted the military capabilities of the terrorist groups in Pakistan. The report also added that experts say armed groups have obtained advanced US weapons and equipment like M16 machine guns and M4 assault rifles, night vision, goggles, and military communication gear. Abdus Said, a Sweden-based researcher who tracks the TTP group, said the group's access to sophisticated combat weapons has had a terrifying impact, especially on the lesser-equipped police force in Pakistan. A new article published by the independent Muslim Mirror Network highlighted that the brains behind the anti-Islamic moves in India seem to have a clear agenda distorting historical facts and eliminating Islamic heritage. More details in the following report.
Recently, the National Council for Educational Research and Training, NCRT, has revised high schools textbooks, eliminating certain chapters that serve to promote Muslim-Hindu unity, indicated that the presence of Islam in India or provided evidence of Hindu extremist violence, which are largely described as saffronization of textbooks by critics. The agenda did not stop at educational manipulation, though, and took a more aggressive measure as a deliberate attack on the Muslim library at Bihar al-Sharif, burning 4,500 Islamic books. Concerned Indian officials are expressing explicit warning against organized saffronization, move to alter historical facts. The most recent has been Kerala CM Pinarayi Vijayan, who has accused the NCRT of trying to completely saffronize academic books by excluding historical facts from the syllabus with a political motive. The Chief Minister condemned the removal of chapters and portions from the NCRT Class 12 textbooks, including those related to Mahatma Gandhi's assassination and the banning of the RSS. Vijayan also criticized the omission of portions about the Mughal Empire from the history textbooks of the same class. He alleged that the NCRT is whitewashing the fake history created by Sangh Parivar, which is trying to inoculate the politics of hatred and division into the minds of children. Saffronization is defined as the right-wing policy approach that seeks to implement a Hindu nationalist agenda, for example, into school textbooks. However, the situation is now aggravated with an attempt to wipe Muslim heritage in the country. Community violence during a Ram Navami festival took away a chunk of Muslim history as an extremist mob driven by politics of hatred, set fire to Aziza Library, destroying as many as 4,500 books on Islamic literature and divinity. The 110-year-old library is the oldest madrasa in Bahar al-Sharif. Apparently, Hindu Tuva is evolving into an aggressive policy of education distortion, censorship, and slanted fabrication of the truth, which can not only attempt to remove its darkest legacy in the past, but also promote intolerance of any Muslim presence in the country.
Let us remind our respective views of today's headlines. Imam Ali Holy Shrine raises a black banner of sorrow to mark Imam's painful martyrdom. US weapons left in Afghanistan being used by the TTP for terrorism in Pakistan. Anti-Islamic agenda takes more calculated measures in India amid top politicians' condemnation. Also tonight, in a 12-page report, the US admits mistakes in Afghanistan's withdrawal. The international non-violence organization, Free Muslim, sent a message on the occasion of the International Day of Commemoration of the Victims of the Genocide in Rwanda, in which it denounced the genocide crimes against humanity in various countries of the world, stressing that the initiative to address the roots of this type of crime is an urgent and a necessary matter that cannot be tolerated. The organization said in its message, which was seen by the Shia Waves agency, the United Nations commemorates on the April the 7th each year the memory of the victims of the genocide that took place in Rwanda in 1994, in which more than 1 million people were systematically killed in less than 3 months. It also added that genocide represents a stark example of the failure of the efforts of the political authorities to unilaterally take decision and impose the fabrication of an inclusive identity, no matter how serious it is, even with ideological or even religious different titles, because it contributes with all or without intent to the crystallization of a narrow circle of those affiliated with it, who enjoy absolute privileges of the expense of the rest of the day and of the society, which undermines the social fabric and its elements based on the coexistence and replaces them with disharmony and rivalry. The organization concluded its message by calling out on all parties concerned with international security and stability to create effective mechanisms that contribute to easing internal tensions by encouraging coexistence and integration, rejecting marginalization on ethnic, religious, sectarian grounds, respecting human rights, and standing against oppression and tyranny in all its forms. The Anwar al-Jawadain Foundation, in partnership with Imam Hussein Foundation for Relief and Development and other groups, has launched a 4-day religious and cultural competition on the 15th of Ramadan. The competition was opened with Quranic recitation by Ali Jizani and an opening speech by Sheikh Ali al-Islami, who pointed out that this competition aims at developing the youth's religious and cultural information and knowledge. It is worth mentioning that both foundations are affiliated to the Supreme Religious Authority, Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq al-Husseini al-Shirazi. Afghanistan's central blood bank is facing blood shortage due to a lack of international aid and an increase in patients. The Asian country's main body to collect and distribute blood to hundreds of patients daily is practically dry. The director of the blood bank, Dr. Muhammad Nasser Sadiq, told reporters we have over 1,200 registered patients. Most of them are children with thalassemia and haemophilia, and all of them need fresh blood, which is a challenge in the current situation for us. He said, according to the United Nations, so far this year, the agency has only received less than 5% of the funds required to help the country, making Afghanistan the lowest funded aid operation globally, despite facing the world's largest and most severe humanitarian crisis. Based on a recent UNICEF report, Myanmar continues to be troubled by armed conflicts, particularly in the northwest and southeast, with heavy fighting and airstrikes killing civilians and destroying civilian properties. The statement highlights that the humanitarian situation in Myanmar remains volatile, with a rise in new displacements, especially in the northwest and southeast regions, reaching a total of 1.77 million by the end of March. In Sagaing region, the report adds blocked roads access is hindering the aid delivery. Displaced people are in need of food, medicines, shelter and healthcare, with depression and trauma affecting a high percentage of women and children. Lebanese Jihad Deb, a newly elected member from Bankstown, made history on April the 6th by becoming the first Muslim minister of New South Wales. He swore an oath to the Holy Quran for the first time in the country during the oath-taking ceremony, which was attended by the new government, Governor Margaret Beasley. Mr. Deb, previously a state member for Lakemba, was born in Lebanon but migrated to Australia with his family when 2 years old. He started his career as a high school teacher and served as the principal of another for 7 years. In recognition of his service, Deb received the Pride of Australia Award in 2013. A 19-year-old man from US Waterville City admitted that he was planning to attack a Shia mosque in Chicago and to provide material support to the terrorists, with whom he agreed to carry out all the operation. According to what was supported by Spectrum News, followed by Shia Waves agency, the young man called Xavier Pelkley faces a 15-year prison sentence after he openly confessed to planning to attack a Shia mosque in Chicago. The report also added that Pelkey is one of the remote affiliates of ISIS terrorists and organization, and he planned with 2 others to attack a Shia mosque that they will view as polytheism and blasphemy. It pointed out that the young man was arrested last year and he is currently being tried on charges of homemade explosives and planning to carry out terrorist attacks. The US administration has indirectly acknowledged that America's controversially chaotic evacuation from Afghanistan in August 2021 could have occurred sooner, and that the risks of Taliban takeover could have been more effectively broadcast before even the group overran the Afghan government. These admissions were made in a 12-page unclassified summary of a government review of the withdrawal release on Thursday, to accompany the announcement that the Pentagon and the State Department will be sharing with Congress their after-action report on the 2021 military exit. The unclassified summary of the withdrawal review contains references to 2 subsequent policy changes that indicate the administration should have begun the evacuation of America sooner, and that the risks of Taliban takeover should have been better communicated. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee, for its part, criticized the White House's comments about the withdrawal from Afghanistan, describing it as disgraceful. The US withdrawal, which ended on August the 30th, 2021, shocked the Americans and US allies after the Taliban overcame Western-trained Afghan forces within weeks, forcing the US forces to rush out the country from Kabul report. Joining us now is the political analyst Sultan Ali Jawad from Frankfurt. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Inshallah, you're doing very well.
Thank you very much. I'm doing very well. Happy Ramadan.
Thank you very much. How you see the US recent report in which its administration admitted its mistakes on Afghanistan's withdrawal?
Yeah, of course. I think the withdrawal of United States from Afghanistan was absolutely wrong, and I think it created a lot of problem. But the consequence of this mistake withdrawal from Afghanistan was very heavy on the people of Afghanistan, especially, I can say. But also we have regional security problem due to this mistake, and also we have seen that Afghanistan become once again the safest place for the terrorist groups in Afghanistan also. As already mentioned in your news, that we have 7 billion military equipment left for the Taliban that used to be used for the terrorist attacks, including in Afghanistan, as also you mentioned in Pakistan as well. So we have also 20 years achievements of the government was also terminated, and we have good governance. We have somehow progress in economic development, and we have freedom of speech and freedom of right, and all of these things have gone. And also we in Afghanistan had a very good progress in the private sector, job creation. At least I can say that the governance and the social activity in Afghanistan, all of them fell due to this big mistake of the United States in Afghanistan. And what I can mention as well is that the main reason behind this withdrawal was actually the hasty decision of the White House and misunderstanding, or you can say the disagreement between the Foreign Ministry of the United States and also Ministry of Defense. So I think White House, who was really listening to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and mainly to the recommendation of Zalmay Khalilzad, they made a wrong decision, I think. And Zalmay Khalilzad was not the right person to lead the Qatar peace negotiation. And the White House was usually listening to him. I think from the other side, I can say that I know Biden was already made his mind to withdraw from Afghanistan, because when he was the vice president of the United States, he said that Afghan nation cannot be united any time. That's why for the first decision when he came to White House, he decided to withdraw from Afghanistan. But unfortunately, he was very much focused on what Khalilzad was saying to him. Khalilzad is an Afghan original American citizen, and he is a really Talib supporter. Result of his work was the failure of the mission, of the United States mission, and the destruction of a country, and empowerment of the terrorist group in Afghanistan. This is really very unfortunate, and I think it is good that the United States at least accept that they did a mistake. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, Brother Sultan Ali Jawad. That was Sultan Ali Jawad from Frankfurt, a political analyst. Muslims in Tanzania observe the blessed month of Ramadan amid an increase in food prices and uncertainty of supplies. A new report revealed that the report conducted by the Voice of America said that residents of Dar es Salaam look forward to the month of Ramadan and reflect on spirituality through fasting and prayer. But this year has been difficult as food prices are skyrocketing, which is making it more expensive to afford iftar meals. The report said that the Tanzanian families are forced to cut out back on a variety of food quantities they consume during the month of Ramadan. Businesses has also been impacted by price increases like other African countries. Tanzania has experienced poor rainfall, which reflected negatively on food production. On the World Autism Awareness Day, the Sibtain Academy for Autism and Development Disorder, in cooperation with the Sibtain International University for Medical Sciences, affiliated to Imam Hussein Holy Shrine, held a ceremony which aims at providing full support for this group and to raise awareness in the family and the society. The director of the Center of Psychiatry and Autism at the Holy Shrine, Dr. Osama Abbas, said in an interview with the official website, under the direct guidance of the custodian of the Holy Shrine, of the group, educating families that children US weapons left in Afghanistan being used by the TTP for terrorism in Pakistan. Anti-Islamic agenda takes more calculated measures in India amid top politicians' condemnation. Non-violence organization says uprooting causes of genocide is an urgent and necessary issue. In a 12-page report, the US admits mistakes in Afghanistan's withdrawal. Muslims in Tanzania say food prices increase impacting Ramadan. On World Autism Day, Imam Hussein Holy Shrine provides services to 700 autistic children. You can view the latest news of your country on our news agency. Contact us on the numbers at the bottom of the screen. This is the end of today's news. Thank you for watching, and we pray to Allah the Almighty to hasten the reappearance of the Master of our time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.